Growth is any positive development that actualizes potential.
Interesting.
So in psychology, and there's this whole field called the human potential movement that deals with the utilization of one's talent, helping people to discover and realize and capitalize on their potential. So when I think about my history, I started off as a personal manager, and as a personal manager, I was concerned with helping people to capitalize on their potential. So one of the ways that we did that back in the day with personal management was to first understand what exactly is it that you are presenting to people. And in order to do that, we have to first deal with identity. Identity is very, very important. So even before I understood psychology as I understand it now, I was intuitively aware of the fact that we have to first discover and then determine, who are you? So as a personal manager dealing with record companies, the record companies will say, well, who is the artist? So my responsibility very early on was to help artists discover, who are they? How do they distinguish and distance themselves from the competition? So from personal management, I got into consulting. And with consulting, the question still came up of, who are you? What are you trying to accomplish? What potential do you have? What tools do you lack? What do you need in order to go from point A to point B? So I got into coaching. And then from coaching, I got into becoming an educator, which is really who I am at the base. So as a personal manager, I was teaching artists about who they are. As a coach, I was teaching people how to utilize the tools that would help develop their careers, to help them realize their potential. And then from being an educator, I got into consulting, where I was helping people in corporate America utilize their workforce talent and harmonize workplace relationships. So all of this is based upon potential. So what I realized in my career, looking at it in retrospect, is that I was always involved in helping people grow. I went from helping people to establish, develop, and advance their careers to helping people develop a greater sense of work and life fulfillment. And in this processes, it was all about growth, personally and professionally.
And I should have mentioned this because you've spent over 2 decades in the music industry. And so when you talk about being a personal manager, you were talking about managing artists and their careers in the music industry. And you eventually segued that into this blog that you have called The Growth Tree. I mean, why the topic of growth? I mean, of all of the things that you could write about, why did you choose that topic? Why is it so important for people to have access to information about the topic of growth?
Well, the other thing with regard to being a growth expert, it's not something you set out to become. It's a branding mechanism. People refer to me as a growth expert before I referred to myself as that. And just in the same line as someone being a change agent, like in corporate America, they talk about somebody being a change agent. Well, the growth expert is somebody who understands the process of growing. So for me, so much of my studies, my background, have to do with where careers and life intersect. So to be able to put an emphasis and understand what it takes to grow in a personal and professional sense was very important to me. A light came on in terms of what my real calling was. So the blog was really important because now I could extrapolate all these lessons. I could take all the studies that I've done, all the research that I committed to, and a lot of the things that I have lived, and a lot of the things I have been influential in helping other people to live, and bring it into one spot to where people can get the offering of all of the growth processes and the philosophies that I have to offer.